Welcome to The Shield Within. The issues discussed on the Shield Within podcast do not reflect the opinions of any specific agency. They are the views of the host and the guest. Any persons discussed may be fictional for comedic purposes only. This podcast is rated explicit and listener discretion is advised. Listening to The Shield Within may trigger repressed or suppressed memories or experiences. Please contact a mental health professional at your earliest convenience. It's time for the chaos to cease.
Time to open yourself to peace.
From the hours you've put in.
To the next shift you begin.
From the endless pursuit of release.
That finds the worst unleashed.
Transform the ugly into a win.
Get to know your shield within.
Welcome to The Shield Within. This is a 2.0 version with Mr. Scott Medlin. Thank you very much for being here.
I'm honored.
We're super excited you're here. We have Mr. Hat.
Yes, sir. Hello.
The Kelly.
Hello.
Dr. David.
Good evening.
FD Donnie.
Hello, all.
And Mr. Scott Medlin.
How's it going, everybody?
So we're wrapped. This is actually our third episode because I can actually know how to work my goddamn board now. You'd think the guy that what's this, our third season, isn't it, Dr. David? And I still fuck shit up.
We have a
left
sound
and
guy.
right.
Don't we have a sound guy?
We do have a sound guy, but if you don't turn the microphones on,
the sound guy can't do shit.
That's the key.
Just FYI.
There is no sound.
Yeah, he is a miracle worker,
Okay,
but he
gotcha.
can't work those kind of miracles.
When 2 out of 6 mics are muted, 4 out of 6 mics are muted. That's a problem.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, this is like
Anyway.
Mark the Cop, you dumbass. So.
That's
Anyway.
a whole podcast. So.
Welcome to The Shield Within.
Welcome to The Shield Within. If you're on social media, and we all know you old fuckers are on Facebook because we do our demographics once a month. Go to Facebook /The Shield Within. Please like us and share our shit. You can go to www.shieldwithin.com. If you're in need, because after listening to these 2 episodes, you're probably going to want to talk to Dr. David. Please hit the coaching button. That'll take you straight to him. Or you can go to lessonslearnedcoaching.com. And one last thing, but not least, is Patreon. And you can pledge your support to the show if you like this shenanigans twice a month on the 1st and the 15th. Please pledge your support to us. And the money will be going to people who are actually doing the things like us that are stopping officer suicides.
Yeah.
And that's what we're going to do with the money from their end. So, Dr. David, in episode 1.0, we talked about, and I have to get my notes from my wife who was yelling at me because I didn't bring it back up, NLP, correct?
Yeah, to walk up to that point,
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
I'm thinking let's start where we started the first time.
No problem.
You are not now an active law enforcement professional.
Correct.
And at some point in your life, you weren't before you were a law enforcement professional. So I'm guessing somewhere in your teenage years, what turned you on to becoming a law enforcement officer? How'd that happen?
I think what solidified the deal was when I was 15, I went to a career fair having no idea what I wanted to do in my future, but I started talking to the recruiter from the local police department. And the more I talked to him, the more I was just thinking, this is something I could do. Yep.
What appealed to you about it?
Well, the first thing was he just talked about how he was able to like go out there and protect people, like go out there and stop criminals from doing things. And when I was a child, my dad had an office downtown. He still does. But I would see the police from time to time stopping people from acting up and bothering other people. Mm-hmm. And I liked knowing that they were there to protect these citizens. Mm-hmm. I liked that. Mm-hmm. Also, when I was a little kid, we were in my garage. Well, not my garage, my parents' garage. And my brothers and I were in the car. Well, I saw this guy walking door to door, house to house, looking at windows, not right up to the windows, but you could tell he was trying to look in windows. And when he would knock on the door, he wouldn't back up. He would stay right at the door. And I'm a little kid, and I'm picking up on this suspicion. One, because I was in a small neighborhood where everyone knew each other. Yeah. This guy didn't look familiar. And I told my mom, I said, "What's this guy doing?" And she said, "I don't know. Let me call your father." She calls him, and he says, "No, call the police." She says, "Well, I'm going to call the police." I just remember thinking, I want the police to get here. I think that's what kind of got the gears turning. Like, if I can be that person to show up, to which I did respond to crimes in progress sometimes, or suspicious activity where there were kids saying, thank goodness you're here. I mean, a few home invasions where, like one in particular, I'll never forget, the girl was shaken to her core. And unfortunately, I got there right as the bad guys had peeled away. But, I mean, they had just left.
Yeah.
But she was shaking, and I got down on her level, and I said, we're here now. We're going to do the best we can to keep you safe. We are here now. Let me go off on a little tangent right quick.
Please.
Go ahead. 6
months later, I'm handling a domestic argument in the street between this boyfriend and girlfriend, in the middle of the street, broad daylight. And all of a sudden I hear out of nowhere, Officer Medlin! And it was that girl. And she runs up. She doesn't care that these two adults are arguing. She gives me the biggest hug around the leg. She did not forget me from that night when the house was broken into. And the bad guys came in through her bedroom window.
Oh, wow.
So they woke her up. They scared the heck out of her.
Yeah.
Yeah. That moments like that, we'll never forget. That's the why behind the job right there. But yeah, I as a kid, even when I went to restaurants, I saw the police. I was like, this place is safer because they're here.
Yeah.
I really liked that about it, and it just resonated with me. I was like, maybe I can do it. Yeah. Plus, I'm a personality where it's very hard for me to sit still at a desk and do tedious work. Needless to say, law enforcement is not that, particularly patrol. So that got my interest as well. I did a ride-along at age 17, and I was sold. Yeah, I was sold. I was like, this is it. This is it.
That was your first hit of the heroin.
We got him.
So at 17, 18, did you go right into training academy?
No, I actually enlisted in the United States Marine Corps. And,
How'd that happen?
I believed in service to country, but I did backyard. I was doing some backyard work one time for a retired Marine Corps colonel. Wow. And he gave me that question. You ever thought about what you would do with your future, son? You know. And I said,
what do you want to do with your life?
Right. I want to rock. Sorry.
And I told him, don't call me sorry again. Anyway. But I told him, no, I have no idea. He said, is Marine Corps ever, sparked your interest? I said, no, not really. My mom said something about joining the Army. He was like, no.
Your Army dogs.
But my junior year U.S. history class, a Vietnam veteran who was actually my neighbor, he was my U.S. history teacher now. He was a Navy corpsman with the Marines in Vietnam. Saw a ton of ton of hard times. He needless to say, he was like a surrogate Marine because the corpsmen are attached with the Marines. And he brought the Marine Corps recruiter in, and the recruiter gave his spiel, and I was like, let me see your card. So talking to a different recruiter who was reassigned to the area, and just made that call. I was like, I believe in service to the country. Let me join up in the Marines. Plus, I knew I needed some disciplining, and the Marines did just that for me. I mean, my parents did a good job of teaching me right versus wrong, understanding consequence, but like the extra push of doing things that are hard even when you don't feel like doing them. Yeah. Oh, the Marines definitely help with that. So that was like what got me in there. And then, I ended up doing Marine Corps Reserves, but I got activated twice to go to Iraq in 2003 and 2005.
What was boot camp like on Parris Island?
Oh, gosh, June, July, and August. I didn't know that there were bugs that could bite through camouflage uniforms. I saw a mosquito land on my sleeve one time, and I was like, oh, it's just on my sleeve. Oh, ow! And I'm slapping my arm, and it's just like, it bit through my uniform. What in the world? It was a very challenging experience. It really was very challenging.
What's your name, scumbag?
That's putting it lightly, what they would say. All right.
So the scene from Full Metal Jacket was pretty true with Arlie Ermy.
He was a former drill instructor, so he knew what to do, and it was very accurate. No matter what you did down there, you were still wrong. If you were right, you were wrong. I really had to look, like when I would brush my teeth at night, and they were of course hurting them. You got 3 minutes to do this. You got 5. So basically, 75 males piled into one bathroom with 12 sinks and 8 shower heads, and you got 5 minutes. Yeah.
Wow!
It sucked. I hated that. But I would look myself in the mirror and just be like, I've got to get through this. I've got to get through this. And I mean, there was one guy one time we were all making the head call. That's what they call it, going to the bathroom, and we're all crammed in there because there's no other option or time to do it. And all of a sudden, some of the recruits start yelling, "Stop! Stop! Don't do that to yourself! Don't do that to yourself!" And there was a guy trying to take his Mach 3 razor blade and cut his wrist.
Oh, wow.
Shit.
Yeah, and the senior drill instructor walks in and gets the guy out, and he gets a mental evaluation or whatever they do, and he eventually ended up graduating. But stuff like that, it was very stressful. And what made it harder was the platoon I was in, we didn't mesh at all.
Ooh,
We
really?
just didn't mesh. And if you don't mesh, then it makes life and boot camp that much harder. And I'm not going to say there were plenty of times I made a mistake. Like one time I didn't finish the laundry overnight for the uniforms. The drill instructor punished me and several others who had the night watch, and he smoked the heck out of us. I mean, just exercise after exercise. Called it quarter decking. Up in the front of the squad bay, and you have to yell the exercises that they're making you do, and you just have to keep on doing crunches and push-ups and burpees and just keep on doing it. And then eventually they let you go, but it was just that kind of stuff where we just didn't get along very well, and it was just one punishment after the next. This is kind of fun. It's always funny after the fact, but one time one of the recruits got busted for stuffing a Jimmy Dean Subway or Jimmy Dean deli sandwiches in his cargo pockets from the range.
Oh, wow.
And they would search us when we left the range because they didn't want anyone to have ammo.
Right.
Hence the Full Metal Jacket kind of scenario.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, they searched his pockets and they found the Jimmy D sandwiches, and the drill instructor was
One
like,
jelly donut.
exactly. and the drill instructor said, "Oh my God, Jimmy fucking D." And he said,
You're all gonna die.
yeah, and he said, senior drill instructor's going to hear about this, and y'all are going to never hear the end of this. Well, the next day we get, pitted and in the sand pit where all that sticky, moist sand is just sticking to you, and you look like a sugar cookie. And every time we did a push-up, when we pushed up, we had to say Jimmy. When we pushed down, we say Dean. So we were going Jimmy, Dean, Jimmy, Dean.
Oh, wow.
But anyway, there's stories for days with boot camp.
So to this day, you can't eat a Jimmy Dean breakfast.
And your laundry's always completed.
Oh my God, yeah, I'll never forget stuff like that. But I will give just a memorial, just a shout out, whatever you want to call it, to my senior drill instructor, Gunnery Sergeant Philip Jordan. He was killed in the invasion of Iraq in 2003. It was a man that I saw as invincible, and he was a sniper with an infantry unit, but I think he was just regular infantry when he went in for the invasion of Iraq. But he was one of the first Marines killed, March 23rd, 2003, I believe. So rest in peace. And me and many others are doing our best to live honorably to carry out all the things you taught us, for sure.
Did you become a military policeman?
No, I was a radio operator. Yep. Which I enjoyed, actually. I mean, the equipment was a headache, but particularly the second deployment, wherever they needed a radio operator, I would go. So it'd be recovery missions, or sometimes EOD would need a mission because a unit had found a bomb on the side of the road. Well, we need a radio operator. Get on a helicopter with your radios. Let's go. And I was like, oh, hey, guys, we all just met, and we're depending on each other to keep each other alive. Nice meeting you. Let's go. But, yeah, so it was radio, and the equipment was very frustrating. It just didn't really want to work all the time.
Yeah.
So it was nice when I became a police officer, and I would just turn the radio on, then it would work, and turn it off at the end of shift.
Damn. And you entered into combat areas then, it sounds like.
Yes, 2003 and 2005. I wasn't the infantry kicking down the doors, doing door-to-door searches or anything like that. But in 2005, it was pretty stressful to be riding down any kind of road, wondering the next pothole you hit, is there a bomb that's going to go off?
Wow.
When you see trash on the side of the road, is there an IED hidden in that trash? I still, to this day, if I see trash on the side of the road, I'll go there, but I don't stay there mentally.
Yes.
It was tough. So it wasn't anything like small arms fire, but it was just every time you're on the road, it's like, where's the bomb? Is there going to be a bomb? It was it was a feeling you didn't really quite get used to. Constant
awareness.
Yes.
That is a part of my reality. That is a part of my life. Mm-hmm. So trauma became a part of your reality.
It did. And I didn't know it was trauma. They never taught us about trauma.
Yeah.
I remember when I got home from the second deployment, the Navy doctor was seeing all of us, and he said, "Did you get a head injury while you were over there?" I said, "No. I mean, I encountered a close mortar fire attack that I was very lucky to be alive from, you know." And he said, "Oh, okay." He said, "Well, how are you doing?" I said, "I mean, I'm fine." He said, "Well," he put a sticky notepad on the floor. He said, "Pick that up." I'm like, "What are you?" Okay, picked it up, and he said, "Who's the president?" I said, "President Bush." And he was like, "Okay, you're good. Go out." It's like, why did I do that? Like, what was the point of that? I don't know what the point of that test was to this day. I'm like, why did he do that? So, yeah, I'd been exposed to dangerous incidents. My brother as well, because my brother was in Iraq at the same time I was.
Wow.
And for a year, we were fine. Everybody else had the problem.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We were fine. Everyone else was losing their mind. So about a year after returning home, my dad had enough. He said, "I'm losing you. I'm not going to lose my family," because I was irritable. I was always on the go. I was having flashbacks. One time in college class, I actually had such a flashback that I went back to the close mortar fire, and that was too close for comfort. And a Marine to this day that saw it said, "I don't know how y'all survived that one." But I blacked out, like not blacked out, passed out, but like
dissociated.
Yeah, exactly. And I came back too. I thought to myself, how long has this professor been talking, and how long have I been out of it? Like that was scary. It was just like, whoa, something's going on. So my dad said, let's get you some help. I know someone who can help. And hearing it from my dad and hearing him say something like, "I'm losing my family," that it finally hit.
Were you married at that point?
No. Okay. I was dating my now wife, but we weren't married. No.
And was your brother older or younger?
Younger. He's younger by 2 years.
Okay. Yeah. And you were both in at the same time.
We were. Yep.
And both left at around the same time, it sounds like.
For my second deployment, his one and only deployment, 2005. Yeah, he got there 2 months before I did, and then he got there January of 05 or February of 05. I got there early April of 05-ish, around there, yeah.
And at the point where you got home, not married yet, did you know there was something like wrong with your head? Like, I'm not my thinking, my emotions, my behavior, something's messed up here.
The flashback scared me.
The flashback scared
But the nightmares, I just figured they would go away with time. I would always have a nightmare that I was either in a firefight and I was out of bullets, or there were blasts going off and I couldn't move, like I physically could not move.
Wow.
Or I had dreams that I had to go back, like immediately. It's like, wait a minute, I just got home. What in the world's going on? Bad dreams. But I just thought with time they would fade away. So like I said, everyone else had the problem. I was fine.
Yeah.
Did your then girlfriend notice any of that?
No, because she brought out the best in me. And I was just always happy to be around her. I was able to, I guess, I don't know, compartmentalize. I'm not sure. It was just, it was such a high being around her, and it still is to this day that, yeah.
So have you shared much of that with her over the time you've been together?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Bother her?
No, she's one of those like, yeah, fix your crap. Don't bring it around to me.
At the point you got home, you're feeling great, but you know you've been through some shit. Mm-hmm. You're having flashbacks. You're having nightmares. Your dad says, "I'm losing my family. I'm losing you." He knew somebody. Who did he know?
He was referred to by a friend to a doctor who practiced neurolinguistic programming. We were told to go to this doctor's house. I thought, well, that's interesting. A house? Okay. And when we got there, my brother and I both needed the treatment. The doctor comes out and says, "Marines! There's Marines in my house! Hey, Marines!" And he comes out with this button-up shirt, suspenders, and jeans, and we're like, are we at the right place? Oh, but Dr. Bob was great from the start, and he's still a friend to this day.
Awesome.
But what he did was, he didn't have me do the traditional, let's talk about it. How did that make you feel? That kind of thing. No.
Right.
He said, "Tell me about the incident." So I told him, and he said, "Okay, I want you to step out. Now tell me about the incident. See yourself in the incident. Not be in the incident. I want you to see yourself later in the incident." And he said, "Now, what do you feel?" I said, "Well, I feel fear of dying." He said, "Okay, do you feel it right now? Or does that Scott you're looking at feel fear of dying?" I said, "Oh, okay, I get it. That Scott that I'm looking at has the fear of dying." He goes, "Okay, all right. What's underneath that fear?" I said, well, that Scott's in his early 20s. There's a whole life ahead. That's a bad feeling. Okay, what's under that? And he basically just had me label every single negative emotion that Scott I was picturing was feeling. But underneath it all, he said, when you've got nothing left, you're at rock bottom now. He said, you're at rock bottom on feelings. What's under there? I looked at him after thinking a while. I was like, God? And he said, he said, now we can get somewhere. He basically told me that no matter what emotional scale you go up, whether it's positive emotions or negative emotion, you got God on top, God at the very bottom. And I asked him, though, I said, well, okay, what if someone's agnostic or atheist? He said, everyone has a higher something that I can channel in. He basically trained me to disconnect the emotion from the memory of that incident. And it was pretty powerful.
Taught you to be an observer.
Yes.
And not just a participant.
Right. I was not in like a first-person view video game. I was in the third person.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that helped objectify it for you.
Very much.
Pulled you out of it. Changed your thinking, I'm guessing.
It did. Yeah. It was actually big stress relief to think about it third person rather than first person, because I wasn't experiencing the emotions. And when we experience the emotions of things, it's our brain doesn't know the difference between a memory and the actual event occurring.
Yeah. I'm curious. How many sessions did you have with the doctor?
It was like 2 or 3 for that incident. Yeah.
And there were 2 hours each.
Yep.
Okay. So after all your 6 hours, 8 hours, whatever it was done, did your dad see a difference?
Oh yeah.
How'd you know?
Yeah, we weren't as bitter, we weren't as negative, and the family started to reconcile a lot.
Okay. Did your girlfriend notice a difference?
No, I don't think. It's just because seriously, like I just didn't. I was so excited to be around her and with her. All the negative stuff.
You just put it away.
It just went away. Yeah, it just went away. Yeah,
It's pretty cool.
Is that still true?
There was some trouble during the law enforcement times. Yeah, but
can you share?
Well, the hardest part was throughout the years I was having so much fun on the job. I would just sign up for jobs for the sake of working the jobs. I'd be like, none of y'all would know what that was like. Right?
What does this you speak of?
Yeah, right. I would just say, well, it's easy money. We can always use some money.
Sure.
But it would be late night gigs. So the next day I was pretty much useless because I was sleeping. And she's like, she worked a Monday through Friday job. That's what kind of started it, where, oh, good, you're putting the job ahead of me. Great. And you don't have to. And then I got Canine, to which I dreamed of working on Canine for years and did some serious networking and showing. Like, I was serious about that job. So work came home, literally, in the form of fur and 4 legs. The job came home. But the job of Canine, I didn't really do a good job of taking care of my mindset at all. I figured I've got friends outside of the profession. I go to church and I work out. I'm good. There's nothing else that needs to be addressed. I am fine. And I wasn't. I kept signing up for more work, and I started complaining, particularly when there was tension on the unit or whatever. Unfortunately, fortunately, the job was fun, as in there was plenty of action, because whenever someone was supposed to run or that we were going after a violent fugitive, hey, we need Scott and his dog. I'm like, sign me up. I'm on the way. But officers will say, I don't take the job home with me. Okay. All right. There's some things that if you keep playing them over and over again in your mind and you're at home, well, guess what? The job's at home with you, whether you'd like to admit it or not. So that was me. I've been on the Canine for 3.5 years, and my wife basically gave me that talk saying, we were parents at that time of a baby boy, and she said, I'm going to do this on my own. I'm thinking about doing this on my own. I was like, oh, shoot. And here I am thinking, I never thought I'd be a police officer with a troubled marriage and never turn into this person who was consumed by the job. So, yeah, back when we were dating, it was, cloud 9 all the time. But, yeah, some trouble started right around that time, 10 years after, or 10, 12 years after the fact, into law enforcement. But we worked it out. I did the hard thing but the right thing and gave up Canine.
Okay. At any point in that process in particular, did you become suicidal?
No, I did not. And I'm grateful for that. Yeah.
Any sense of what kept you from becoming suicidal?
My faith. God put me on this earth. It's not my job to take me out of it. Like, it's His timing. It's His timing. And I've held on to that through a lot of bad mental spaces, through the post-traumatic stress or depression, or I battled an addiction one time. I've held on to that belief, like, firmly.
It's still true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did you experience anxiety?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, big time.
Talk about that a little bit.
Well, when we would go out with friends, I always had to watch other people, watch the door constantly. My wife would be like, "You're doing it again. Come on, have fun with us." But I was worried that there was just this inevitable attack waiting to happen at the restaurant.
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't shake it. But you know, I am fine, right? So I would tell my wife, "Well, at least I'm aware of my surroundings."
No, yeah.
And you aren't, honey.
Yeah, right? Yeah, pretty much.
Wow. At any point in all that, did you experience hopelessness?
I experienced hopelessness during my addiction 2 years into the job. I quit because I let a negative group of officers influence me, and I quit thinking, well, the grass was greener on the other side. Mm-hmm. So I went to a smaller department, and I realized I made a bad mistake. So somehow I ended up getting it, and I tell people about it. It's embarrassing to this day, but I say it because I know plenty of others are going through it. It was a porn addiction.
Okay.
And I felt horrible. I mean, I felt awful. I was like, I'm me? Like, why is this happening to me? I've never watched this stuff. When it was overseas in Iraq, plenty of Marines were watching. I never even watched it. Like, why is this happening to me? And there was hopelessness, bad. I'm a few months into it. I realized it's an addiction at that point. Mm-hmm. And I all of a sudden, my brain, it's like, I can't picture a life beyond this. And that's what led to some hopelessness. Like, is this going to infect me the rest of my life?
Wow.
Yeah, it was bad. Yeah.
I'm fascinated by the whole group of officers influenced you in a negative way. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, they just said that the department was crap, and anyone working here is making a mistake. But looking back, I should have been like, well, then why are you still here?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
But I thought, well, their experience must be my experience. Their attitude must be my attitude. I was 1 year on the job, really impressionable at that point. Mm-hmm. And so I quit. Yep.
And how? And what made you realize it was a mistake? How'd that happen?
I couldn't stop missing the hometown department. Once those negative emotions died down, and I forgot, and I realized I'd forgotten why I went there in the first place. I was like, I made a bad mistake. I made a really bad mistake. Now, fortunately, after begging to come back, 8 months later, they took me back after chewing me out on an oral board for 90 minutes.
Wow.
To which I think I still hold the record for the longest oral board at the department. But I earned it. I earned every bit of that butt chewing. But they did take me back, yeah.
How did you not get connected with those dudes again?
I just had a different perspective, It's just like, I've made that mistake once. I'm not going to make it again. And what's funny is one of the ones that influenced me with that very first day back.
Yeah.
He's in his car. He's having laptop issues, and he said, "You should have stayed gone." And I smiled from ear to ear. Wow. Your reality doesn't have to be my reality anymore. Like, it just doesn't have to be. Now, don't get me wrong. The rest of my career, did I get caught up in the gossip and the complaining from time to time? Of course I did. But overall, I really enjoyed being back, and I never looked at that place the same ever again.
One of the things you've talked about in your podcast is how much cops are habit scanning their environment, making sure the external environment, you're aware of at all times. But inside, what you think, what you feel, what you remember, what your experiences are, you don't pay much attention to all that stuff.
No.
What happens there?
Well, it needs to be as much firsthand knowledge as the external tactics are, in my opinion. I mean, look at the statistics. I mean, more police officers die by suicide than in the line of duty. Okay, so and it's been that way for years now. So it's like, we need to start focusing on that and address tactics of addressing certain signs and symptoms of a mental health condition that are going on. Hypervigilance was one for me, but I didn't know what hypervigilance was. So if you don't know that something's a problem, then obviously you don't see a problem to fix.
Right.
Certain things need to be taught just as much as the external tactics are. And they need to be just as the same enthusiasm and approach. Like you tell officers, hey, we're gonna go over patrol techniques because we've evolved through our tactics and there's new tricks that people are using to get the upper hand. Oh, hey, shoot! Every officer's like, yep, show me. I don't want to die in the line of duty, but you say, all right, we're going to have someone come in and talk about how we can stay well and healthy and do great on the job. It's like, oh man, I'm going to get my phone out. And, not all of them, but we still have work to do with that. Just like making it a normal thing to focus on mindset and stuff like that.
It's a priority.
Yeah, good point. Yes.
It's knowing all that external stuff. It's not like we need to reduce it.
Right.
But we need to beef up the internal stuff.
Yeah, priority. Yeah, good point.
Self-awareness, another thing that you've talked a lot about on your podcast, which is a big thing we've talked a lot about here, that all this kind of growth and movement out of a negative place, it starts with self-awareness. Yeah. I feel like shit.
Yeah.
The thoughts, the shit in my head is just awful. I don't want to think about that stuff all the time.
Yeah.
Your spouse, your children look at you like you're a stranger.
Yeah, true.
And or a threat in that you're a stranger. Your reticular activating system.
Use it or it can help you or break you.
Comes into play here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Talk a little bit about how that becomes an element.
Well, first off, I had no idea about the reticular activating system until I had hit rock bottom after resigning from the canine and started having to learn more about how to build my mindset back up to find who I was again. And I started researching mental health and mindset and stuff like that. So I came across multiple people talking about the reticular activating system, the RAS. And basically it's how we view the world. It's basically a filter that takes in sensory pieces of information to bring to our conscious mind what we're actively thinking about, that which is most important to us. Mm-hmm. Because if we took in and we're aware of every piece of sensory information that our senses pick up, we go crazy because we pick up thousands.
Right.
So the filter says, all right, this is important, so we'll bring in this piece. So basically, if someone walks into roll call and they say, let's see what F and BS they have for us today, by gosh, your brain's going to be so super in tune to that.
Yeah.
Versus, and it'll tune out all the blessings that you have in your life. I mean, to be alive in and of itself, it is a gift.
Yes.
So your reticular activating system can make or break you. And I love the common example that's given is when you buy a car, all of a sudden you see that car being driven on the road a heck of a lot more than what you did before.
Yeah.
It's because your brain wasn't constantly aware of it. Now it is because it was important to you. It's whatever you make important. That's why it's all more reason to make positivity and being around uplifting people and having goals for yourself and working on habits to achieve those goals, because your brain will go to work for you through the power of your reticular activating system.
Awesome. Is there anything a person can do to kind of utilize it?
Well, I'll just give my example, and then someone can maybe take what I did and then apply the concepts to them. I knew that eventually I was going to probably have to get out of law enforcement. So I thought, what can I do to work with law enforcement? Since I realized I couldn't work in it, throughout my life, I've been kind of admirable of keynote speakers. Mm-hmm. So what did I start doing? That obviously became a priority to me. I said, you know what, maybe I could get into this. Mm-hmm. I started listening to speakers, and I started. That's what my brain was centering. And all of a sudden, I'm seeing, I'm seeing more information about keynote speaking, and I meet people that are, do presentations at their work. Mm-hmm. Before I would have dismissed it, but then I was like, oh, let me ask them more questions about it. Mm-hmm. And your brain works in amazing ways.
Beautiful.
It just picks up on stuff you originally just didn't pay attention to.
Yeah.
That's me, because it was becoming a goal that I wanted to work towards.
Right.
So obviously the brain went to work on how can we make it happen. I'm not saying your brain's going to do all the work. You got to do the work. It's not just let's just think it into existence. I'm not down with that. You got to take action.
You got to have a map before you get in the car.
Exactly. You got to know where you're going.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. You talk also about imaging and meditation. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, I bashed meditation for the longest time. Longest time. I was like, are you kidding me? Former Marine, former Kai?
Yeah.
Meditation? Get out of here. I gotten to the point where I was so hypervigilant, so wrapped up in the past, worried about the future, that I just couldn't focus on the here and now. And when I hit that rock bottom after resigning from K-9 and just lost who I was because I let the job become my identity.
Yeah.
My wife, she was one of the ones to say, like, meditate, just do some guided meditations. So I started out slow, 5 minutes. That's it, 5-minute guided meditation.
Did she do it with you?
No, we didn't do it together.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's a good point. Anyway, but what I noticed was I would start to think about things I was grateful for, and the emotion of gratitude would come up. And then I would start, like the guided meditation would say, think about something you want to achieve in the next 6 to 12 months, maybe a year, heck, 5 years. And I would start to think about that. Even if it scared the crap out of me, like there's no way I can do this. At least I thought about it. And I started feeling emotions to a future event that I wanted to create. And all of a sudden it's like, wow, the past emotions aren't consuming me as much. It was pretty powerful. But this didn't happen overnight. And that's when I present the 10 code mindset. I'm like, you've got to start slow and trust the process. Just like going to the gym and exercising, you'll get in better shape as time goes on, as long as you stick with it.
Right.
But I recommend for first responders in particular, guided meditations, not sitting there in silence, because there's a lot in the mind. So it's best to stay on direction with someone guiding you through it, whether it be through gratitude and then deep breathing and then picturing yourself where you would like to be or what you would like to do or a relationship you want to repair. All of a sudden your mind goes to work because it becomes, your brain likes what's familiar.
Yes.
So if you become familiar with future thoughts, future emotions, my gosh, your brain's going to gravitate towards them rather than holding on to the past.
Oh, yeah.
I had to learn this the hard way, but when I meditate now, it's only 15 minutes in the morning. That's it. But I love when I can just envision something in the future and I can feel it as if it's already achieved. That's a happy emotion to be around versus waking up and letting someone live rent-free in my head, and you know that bad thought's just going to lead to a predictable day of whatever in the past.
I'm thinking all this has to impact your being a daddy in a big way.
Yeah, it has. It has. I still have my moments where I get irritable sometimes.
Okay.
But for the most part, yes. Particularly when I started to realize I'm not a cop. I'm a husband. I am a dad. I'm not a cop. I worked as a police officer. That really helped.
Yeah.
Wow.
With reconnecting with the kids, because they are the ones that the impression's on. Like
Yes.
they the department goes on without you. But my kids need me. My kids need me. The department didn't need me. My kids need me.
And you needed them.
Oh, big time. Yeah, big time.
Yeah. Same thing with your marriage.
100%. Yeah.
All this had a huge impact on your marriage. And your wife didn't feel like she needed to do it on her own anymore.
Oh yeah, no, we worked it out. It was hard, but we worked it out, and I mean, here we are a few years later, and a lot of people don't like the number 13. They think it's bad luck. I, for one, think it's a good number because I got home from my first deployment on Friday the 13th, 2003.
No, wow.
So we just celebrated our 13th wedding anniversary and renewed our vows at the church. So it's just stuff like that
good for you.
I thank you. I envisioned it so I made it happen. That kind of thing is like, I think when people are married for a longer period of time, there's certain things they just don't think of. They just get into the rut of life, and then they get to a point where it's like, wait a minute, who are you and why haven't we spent extra time together or done anything special or anything like that? Which is easy to do. We get caught in that rut from time to time as well. But stuff like meditation has helped me keep her and the boys in focus.
Yeah. It's all listening today to both you this morning and then the Save a Warrior people in the afternoon. I went up to Beth at the end of it and I said, we need to have something like this just for the meditation.
Oh, yeah.
Talking about it, that's sweet, nice, easy to dismiss.
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
Watching somebody do it, mildly more powerful maybe, but sitting in a room with people doing it, teaching it, that just seems like that would be incredibly powerful to me.
The amount of people that when I was researching for my first book, and I started learning like people like Jerry Seinfeld.
Yeah.
I think it was Clint Eastwood. They meditate.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was just like, wow. And these people were capitalizing truly on their talents.
Yes.
Right.
I'm not saying you have to be a A-list celebrity,
Right.
but like capitalize on your talents, and meditation is one way to do that. In addition to reducing stress, helping with sleep, fight depression, whatever can happen to you mentally,
Yeah.
it's a good way to fight back.
Yeah. And it's easy to learn?
I thought it was through the guided meditations. Yeah, I mean, I started with 3-5 minutes, and then I would go to 10, and now I'm at 15. And I don't push it further than that. I really don't care to. I feel like there's a 15-minute meditation I do. It's some people like them, some people hate them. For the sake of what I'm talking about, this meditation is pretty powerful. It's a Tony Robbins meditation. It's on YouTube. So I'm not like paying extra for an app or a program. No, I just
Right.
go to that YouTube video, and it's 15 minutes. That's it. I do it first thing in the morning.
It has its own alarm, so to speak. It
Yeah.
lets you know when the 15 minutes is up.
Yep. The video ends, and that's it.
And when you come back after meditating, how do you feel?
I feel like there's a mission, there's a purpose, there's a future to work for, not a past to hold on to, that kind of thing.
You walk out of it determined.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm not saying there's going to be like every day is going to be great and it's always positive thinking. No. I mean, we are human, but at least I can keep the vision in mind. To how can I overcome this? Stuff like that.
Yeah. How we doing? We good with time?
We're at 40 minutes.
All right.
Wow,
Didn't that go fast?
it does.
be perhaps a little bit more efficient, Dave? Do we need to wrap it up fairly soon?
Yeah, well, no.
Okay.
Throw a couple more questions in.
Okay. You have on an episode where you have a guest, Paige Arnone, I think was her name.
Yes, yeah.
She talked about a concept using a word that ducking.
I remember when she said that, I said, "What are you talking about, Paige?
Exactly.
Please elaborate." Yes.
And could you talk about that? That was an amazing. I thought it was just like, wow, what
Yeah.
an interesting way of thinking about that.
Right. She did put it a good way. Now she can explain it better than I can, but
But that's
basically
okay.
what she said was, when you see a duck, you see it smoothly swimming, and smoothly, but underneath there's a lot of motion and there's a lot of movement.
Yeah.
She was just making the analogy that someone may say put a smile on their face, but there's a lot going on underneath.
Exactly.
And it's the same thing with the iceberg analogy that. You see the top of the iceberg, but there's a bigger part under the water that a lot of people don't see, which can actually be a bigger threat than what we see.
Yeah, exactly. Very good. I want to mention also that you have a 10-code mindset course. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, the course is ultimately to get police, particularly those who are stressed, burned out. Well, I mean, it's for first responders and military as well. If you're stressed out, burned out, you don't have to stay there. That's the good thing about it. Like, some just accept the anger. As my friend Jeff McCreevy says, yeah, they're happily angry, which doesn't exist, obviously. But
Right.
yeah, I mean, you can't be angry and grateful at the same time. It just doesn't work. But it is a course to show how can you rise above, but also even if you are in a good place mentally, life's going well, you feel good internally, there's always something more we could learn. So the 10-code mindset is just a buffet of mindset strengthening that we can do, but also physical aspect as well. Exercising, sleep, stretching, all these things that can typically be overlooked because, well, a lot of us make the excuse, I don't have time.
All right.
But I prove to everyone that they're human. So you can't just say I'm fine all the time. And then we do the awareness part, and I flash up signs and symptoms of depression, of anxiety, of alcoholism. Not for someone to memorize the whole list, but let's take an assessment of how we're really doing. I was actually speaking in a part of the Northeast country where an officer was involved in a officer-involved shooting. And I flashed up on the slide the symptoms of suicidality and stuff like that. And the officer ended up telling the supervisor, oh, my gosh, that's me.
Oh, wow.
Officer ended up getting the help needed, though. That was great. Because the supervisors, I think, were actual leaders. And they were like, we need to get this person help. Rather than, okay, let's see, policy. Do we need to do any kind of paperwork?
Yeah.
They just focused immediately on getting help. But that's why I do that. Because, like I said, if you don't know that something is a problem, then you obviously don't see a problem. And so that's why I flash up the signs and symptoms to what to be aware about. Even the natural occurrence of denial can lead to a tremendous lack of action
Oh, yeah.
and making excuses and all kinds of stuff. And then we dive into the strategies and techniques to build the mind, build the body, because we're connected head to toe, obviously. So strong mind, strong body, strong mind. I love that phrase. And that's what the 10 Code Mindset's about. And I mean, it just gives you an arsenal to attack life, attack the career in a good way.
And you pick the things that work for you.
Exactly.
And you work them. You
Yep.
make it's if it's a resource, you enhance it.
Yeah, and if anything, I tell police officers in particular, when you show up for you and you take care of you, you're doing that much better for the public. Let's not forget, you took an oath. Like, you don't want to be that liability. You need to work with what's between the ears. I remember one time I was very tired, very frustrated. We got dispatched to a verbal dispute between neighbors. And I showed up, and there was this one guy we dealt with time and time again, and he's running his mouth. And I said I was just tired and frustrated. And rather than just taking that brief moment to ground myself a little bit with wiggling my toes or rubbing my fingertips together or just taking a deep breath, I said, "Why do you always have to run your mouth?" And he went, "Oh, no, you didn't, you motherfucker." I mean, I was like, and I immediately regretted it. I was like, why did I say that?
Oh, wow.
It's just like that. It's like, if you show up for you, you'll show up better for others. And I didn't show up well to that call at all.
Yeah.
And now you're showing up for you.
I show up for me, but I want to show up for as many police as I can across the country, first responders, military veterans, because I've been there, you know, at those times in Iraq, and we don't have to settle for like the negative emotions. It's when people say, "I'm always stressed out," be like, well, if you keep telling yourself that and that's your identity, then you're just you're gonna fulfill that prophecy about yourself. But the good news is you don't have to stay there, and I'm proof of that.
That's right. That's right.
Well, it's like what you're talking about in the seminar today, is how do you reflect upon yourself? How do you view yourself? And, you know, I think that's a big outward reflection of what your mindset is.
Yep.
And that's another big takeaway that I got from your lecture this morning. So we'll go around the table, kind of wrap this up, Mr. Hatt.
Thank you, Scott, for coming. It's been an honor. We've been waiting for this for a little while.
Me too.
And it's great hanging out with you a little bit last night, tonight. Thanks for your courage of doing this. Veterans Day is coming up Sunday or Saturday. Thank you for serving.
Marine Corps birthday's coming up too.
Yeah.
Everybody has steak.
Yeah, I was in the Navy, so our saying was only good Marine's a submarine, but that was...
I haven't heard that one yet.
But no, thanks so much for your friendship here, and
thank you.
I'm blessed to have you here, and I hope you have a safe trip home.
I appreciate it.
The Kelly.
Hey, Scott, thanks for coming. I think it was really cool today being able to sit in front of you. I think, you know, a lot of the self-help or development stuff just stays focused on being on the computer. And if you could feel the energy in the room, that it's just seriously, you're doing the Lord's work. But more so, you're real about what is occurring. And I think, you know, something that was brought up today was that a lot of the mental health for law enforcement is just brief. You know, it doesn't take a lot of time, and it's very important that we spend more time thinking about it and being, you know, our self-prophets, I think, too, is like letting people know that, you know, maybe our marriages are suffering and it is because of the job, and there are sacrifices that you have to make because of that, because we're all part of it. We all had suffering marriages because of the job. Once we left, we were able to do the work, and I think that that's just really important to share. So, but thank you very much for coming, and thanks for signing a book. I'm super excited about it.
Well, I'm excited.
And
that
you
were
spelled my
excited
name
about
wrong.
it.
Or no, you spelled it right. Yeah.
Dr. David.
Awesome to be with you. Awesome to know of you. I love your podcast. I love your contributions to what we're all doing here. You're honorable, for real, as Kelly said. And I appreciate your faith, your authenticity. You're a powerful man. I think you've got a bright future in front of you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
FD Donnie.
Scott, it's a pleasure meeting you.
You too.
For the first time tonight. So I apologize I wasn't able to make it today. I had to work. So
no problem.
But just everything, just listening to you tonight and to get everything that you said, I mean, all the way back to your kids and to be there for them, that is one thing that I know for the past many years. I have not been there for my family, well, for my kids in general and my wife. And then just some of the stuff that you said just tonight. I mean, I see it in your face when you were talking about your wife too. It's like, okay, I was not that guy, and what can I do to become that guy?
Right.
So I appreciate everything that you said, and it just
Powerful.
very powerful tonight.
Thank you.
Want to wrap us up? Good. Thank you, Donnie. That was.
That was good.
It's just. I'm so honored that you're here tonight.
Me too.
It's been a pleasure hanging out with you, and I kind of want to apologize. Should have had you stay another day, but there's so much here in Dayton, Ohio we can do.
Yeah.
But we're so honored and pleased that you came down and came to the studio tonight and kind of hung out with us. Sorry I was not being able to work my shit, but
That was your way of just keeping them here longer.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I don't want any of you to eat. But thank you very much, and we keep doing what you're doing. And if you haven't been out and seen Mr. Medlin, and if he comes to your area, go. And if there's another thing like what we did today, go. It's very powerful. It's important that we all take care of one another, and it's mostly important that you take care of that brain bucket, because in past episodes, like what Kelly shared, when we first all became cops, we're all 10 foot tall and made of steel, and man, I want to go. I want to experience things. I want to have my own stories. And like what Dr. David says, how much shit do we bring to the job?
Yeah.
Because we want to be that person that rescues this person that needs rescuing, and we're not realizing how fucked up we really are ourselves. And from one fucked up person to a room full here, thank you all for doing what you do, and thank you all for being part of the Shield Within family. And we're just damn honored that you're here, and I hope we do a lot of work in the future together.
I think we will.
Yeah, and I hope next year when this comes around, we can all do this again. Because today was just so powerful. And, Susan was talking to me in between the seminar and here tonight. I'm like, honey, I'm super active. I can't talk about this right now. I gotta go through my shit here. But any closing words for us?
Yeah, to anyone listening, if you're under hard times or you're just thinking, how do I work my way out of it? One of the best quotes I ever heard was, if you promise yourself that you'll be 1% better each and every day, a year from that time you made that promise, you'll be 365% better. So just put in the work bit by bit. It is possible, and it's worth every bit of effort. And to anyone who's like, I'm good, I really am. Honestly, I've done the self-awareness thing. I've acknowledged I'm human and I'm doing all these things. I'm a very healthy person, mentally, physically, spiritually, socially. Always know that there's room for growth, and don't stop learning, because when you stop learning, you're essentially, the analogy of a plant. When it stops growing, it dies. We need to keep living, not existing. Have a purpose, have a mission, and keep on learning.
Right on.
Yeah.
Awesome. Donnie. Oh.
Cue the music.
May your days and nights find you strong and safe. May you take your place as your family's face. As you do the shit that we won't do. As you embrace the risk you must go through. May you grow in strength and heal and find your heart, your soul, and your mind. You look at your life and grin. You have a home, the Shield Within.